Donald Trump held one of his big final rallies at Madison Square Garden, and ahead of it, a lot of people were being super hyperbolic, saying it's gonna be like the Nazi rallies, it's gonna be really racist and everything. And oh boy, do they look stupid now. I'm kidding. Let's roll the first clip.
It is absolutely wild times. It really, really is. And, there's a lot going on. Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. Yeah, I think it's called Puerto Rico. Okay, all right, okay, we're getting there.
Okay, so that's a good starting off point. So that is comedian and podcaster Tony Hinchcliffe, who's telling a joke there. It is technically a joke. He's an actual comedian. Lots of right wingers will say a crazy thing that they totally believe, and if the backlash is too much, they then retroactively declare that it was a joke against all evidence. He is a joker, a jokester. He does roast comedy, and so that is a joke. Now, there's been a lot of pushback against it because the thing about it is, a lot of people love to argue about whether something was a joke or not. I don't think that's the most interesting argument to have. I think far more interesting to say, out of the universe of jokes that one could tell, you chose that one.
A storm is tearing up the digital media industry. Only our audience can save us in these difficult times. Help us reach our goal of 100,000 new members at tyt.com/team.
It is a joke that you chose, that you presumably thought would have a good reception at this rally. And it at least kind of did. I'm not saying it was uproarious applause or laughter in the crowd, but they didn't seem to hate it. And it was certainly on brand for the rest of the event. So a lot of the discussion about this is gonna focus on that joke. To be very clear, there was a lot of that type of stuff going on. But we're gonna give our reaction to it, including professional comedian Francesca Fiorentini. I do wanna just acknowledge first, a lot of Republicans are coming out against this joke. So Rick Scott, who I guess could be a senator again after this election, says this joke bombed for a reason. Again, I don't know that it bombed at this particular rally, but it's not funny and it's not true. Puerto Ricans are amazing people and amazing Americans. I've been to the island many times. It's a beautiful place. Everyone should visit. I will always do whatever I can to help any Puerto Rican in Florida or on the island. I have no idea if that is true, what his personal record is when it comes to the island. I would imagine probably bad, but he acknowledges that they're humans, which is a good start, and that now seems to be kind of in dispute. And so we're gonna get to the Trump campaign attempt to distance himself a little bit from this, but Francesca, you're a comedian. What say you?
So I think it's important to understand a few things about this joke and this venue. Number one, Tony Hinchcliffe is a Joe Rogan extended universe comic who owes his success to being on Joe Rogan and being part of, again, the edgelord bros who are anti-woke. And there is a massive backlash in stand-up comedy honestly, against more women, people of color, and queer people being part of stand-up comedy, and also against the large movement in our culture more broadly that says, hey, we should respect all people. And when you punch down, it's not actually funny, it's not creative, it's old, it's hacky. You sound like a comic from the 30s doing blackface and making jokes about their wife. Like, that's really what you sound like. And there is a resurgent appetite for those kinds of jokes. So let's just say that. I will say that this joke would also get the same amount of groans in a club. Tony is a club comic. You get a lot of club comics who will do this kind of lowest common denominator BS, bad jokes. It probably would have gotten the same amount of groans. The difference is this is a political rally for a presidential candidate. And so it's all fine and funny and good if it's at a comedy club. If it's a comics for Trump night, perfectly normal, fine. It's racist, it's on brand, go. The problem is it's followed up by Stephen Miller, who says things like, we're going to purge this country. We're going to get rid of the thugs. We're going to get rid of the illegals. We're going to do mass roundups. That suddenly is not a joke. You are the court jester for an authoritarian fascist. That's what you're doing. So I just want to name that in and of itself, yeah, it's a racist joke. You can laugh, you cannot laugh. It is a joke, but it is not funny when it is in this broader context. And people like Rick Scott, who are trying to win the votes of over 1 million Puerto Ricans in Florida, very much are afraid of these kinds of comments that are so brazen and so ballsy. And I just also finally want to say that the fact that Tony Hinchcliffe was on the stage at a Trump rally tells you one thing. The MAGA movement is just a Holocaust denying meme for the lulz come to life. That's where we are in this moment. It's just a 13-year-old boy being like, well, I'm not allowed to say this, so I'm going to say it. Like, that is what this candidacy is.
Yeah, like different fascist movements have had different sorts of cores or metaphors for who they're supposed to appeal to, but I feel like their movement can perhaps best be summed up by the type of guy who's really, really mad when the company that makes tabletop war game Warhammer 40K says that there are female space marines. And like, what are you doing? Oh, that's who they are. Oh, by the way, in the 80s, there were female space marines. I only point that out because it really bothers these guys. But anyway, yeah, it's this knee jerk, just make me the best again. I just want to be automatically the best. There shouldn't be other people. That's what it feels like. That's what it feels like. So you can tell your jokes, and you can tell your jokes content in the knowledge that it's probably going to receive a pretty good reception at this rally. In the same way that you being brought there is because they think you're going to have a pretty good reception at this rally. Donald Trump, whatever else you can say about him, he seems to understand his base. And I'm not saying that his base is primarily motivated by racism, homophobia, transphobia, and misogyny. I'm just saying Trump is campaigning as if he thinks that's what motivates them.
100%.
There's a reason they're putting money. No, they're not putting more money into any ad than the transphobic ones. They seem to think that's what motivates it. They're not doing inflation and tax policy ads. I think the Trump base would care about that. They don't seem to think that. That's all.
You're 100% right. But John, it's us. It's the left that's been accusing Donald Trump of being fascistic and racist. He's not racist. He just books all of the top racist comedians in the country to do their lowest hanging fruit racist jokes. Yeah. But they're jokes followed up by real plans to deport massive amounts of people.
Thanks for watching our video. Did you know that you can support our show by becoming a subscriber? Just click the subscribe button and also ring the bell so that you get notifications when we're live or when we post new content.